I'm just trying to get where I can hear you better. But
It's okay. We are having.
okay.
Thank you so much, Veronica, for coming to us today. And we missed you in the last drum. In the last session. And I was also talking to Cricket that I don't know why she's not here, but that was in my mind that you have a lot of things to do, and you have to prepare Alexander for the speech. And we are waiting for the video, by the way. So, what do you
Yeah,
want
I'm waiting
to say
too.
today? Yes, I'm waiting for that speech.
Okay. So, what's your question for me today, this morning?
This morning, the question is, how was your experience with the conference? How we are going to sum up that experience?
Well, talked about the initial piece during our Mava family show. Um, but in general, it was a good connecting point to make connections. As you talked about, we're waiting for the video and the footage that the agency that put on the conference. That agency is Arkansas Statewide Independent Living Council. Their executive director is Dr. Franchay Anderson. And so I'm just waiting patiently to receive the video footage and the photographs that Alexander is in. We'll see if that happens or not. There was a little bit of discrepancy and miscommunication and lack thereof in the initial beginnings of the conference itself, which took me to an emotional state that I fight hard every day to stay away from. I try to keep positivity around my situation. Alexander doesn't need to have his mom in distress, especially when we're dealing with so many other challenges within the disability community that we have to face. But overall, it was a good outcome. It was not what it could have been due to egos. People playing more into their ego than as opposed to the purpose of the mission for those with disabilities and being included. So I had to channel that energy in a way that would be the most beneficial for Alexander and what I had intended for him on his special day.
Veronica, what caused I know it was the egos, but were they against what you were saying, or were they, just trying to push their agenda?
Yeah, it was more a pushing of the agenda. As I stated, I hope you guys check out the episode 1 of the Mava Family Show that Dr. Khan and I did do in the wee hours of the morning while it was fresh on my breath. But at this, there was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of micromanaging, a lot of I felt used at one point, and I felt that my organization was being used. My role in my son's life was being taken advantage of. Still had to, and I talked more in detail on episode 1 with Dr. Khan about those initial emotions that were felt. I'm trying to get past it so that I can move on to my next step in my journey as an advocate and as a warrior advocate for the activists for those that can't do this for themselves. I'm not one of those that just talks the talk. I walk the walk, and I don't like being micromanaged. If you're in a position of leadership, you're supposed to help to collaborate and bring forth unison for the same mission, the same goal, no matter what your purpose is within that goal. But it's about unison and collaboration, and not about one person micromanaging others in a belittlement state, in a means to make themselves look good. That's when the ego kicks in. And I'm not one of those that is privy to that. I've never operated like that. And it blindsided me a little bit because I've dealt with wolves in sheep clothing before. That's not the issue. It's just that This was a person that was a part of a sisterhood that I belonged to with my sorority, and she played me. She also took advantage of my son's big brother from another mother, who also calls me mom. His name is Marcus Leonardo Boyd. Marcus, the interviewer. She blatantly took advantage of him, did not compensate him his worth. That hurt my feelings as well. So we out here that are doing this, a lot of us, and I'm going to talk about myself. I am a single mom with an adult son with autism that was diagnosed at the age of 2 with pervasive level of care, which here in Arkansas, I don't know about other states, but the state was ready to write my son off to be put in an institution. I chose to have my son stay home with me. I chose to not put my son on psychotropic medications. I chose to make sure that he is included in his community to the fullest extent possible. In addition, choosing to learn about laws, amendment to laws, policies, and those things that were going to impact my son's presence here, not just on earth, but in his state that he lives in, and to make sure that he did not feel isolated because of his disability or discriminated against by the color of his skin and his disability. So to have someone who is also a disability advocate because she has children of her own with particular disabilities, I really felt I felt angry at one point, because it's like I don't like being associated with people of that type of character. I take my reputation very seriously, and I'm a firm believer. My grandma would say, "You're known by the company you keep." And it was very hurtful. I was in tears on the initial day, that Sunday and Monday. I was uncontrollable emotions at that point, and I was ready to throw in the towel and let her have it. But I was able to speak with. There was an individual that is supportive of Alexander, a couple of individuals within the hotel itself, and then I was able to speak with the co-chair of the agency's board, and it helped me to regain my focus in the moment, and that's hard to do when your emotions get so high. But I was able to vent a little bit in private. And then I spoke with Dr. Khan, I believe either at the ending of the conference, like that Tuesday morning or Wednesday morning, just to catch her up, because I know she had been worried about me not being available. But I made it through. I mean, today is Saturday. I've had some time to reflect on what happened. And part of that reflection, I was telling Dr. Khan that we starting grad school in less than a week for my fall classes. I'm going to take this experience, and I'm taking one course called conflict analysis, and I'm going to take this experience and have it be my research project for this particular course. And of course share that on my blog and my podcast when it comes out in the fall as well. So I'm just trying to channel the experience as a lesson learned. But it'll never happen to me again. That will never happen to me again, especially by this individual and her agency. So, but I'm here, and I'm smiling.
Veronica, you, all of us have had those people in our lives, all of us, and I think that I've learned to, and I'm sure you're figuring this out as well if you haven't already, is I use that as my fuel. When people do that type of stuff to help me, it just keeps us better, right? It rechannels us and puts us in a place where we
let my guard down.
Yeah.
And I normally don't do that. I'm usually a very guarded person, and I've been trying to work on not being so guarded. And it just is that I did that at the wrong time. That was just a moment I shouldn't have done that. And because my son is very dear to me, and I lead with my heart, and I know that I am his voice, and I let my guard down. And it's not to make an excuse or to have any type of sympathy. I just look for understanding in the fact that we all go through that moment where we want what we do to mean something long term. That's what we mean by building a legacy and what we're trying to do and coming together. And then when you have someone that's among you, that they have their own hidden agenda for any other special interest. And this is one of the reasons why I won't accept compensated roles or a job where I have to be censored, because I will not be censored to implement or proclaim someone else's group's special agenda or special interest. That's one of the reasons why I won't accept those type of jobs. And I've been offered jobs ever since I was first got into this game. But it's not the jobs that I want, because I know that part of the contracts when you're signing your soul to the devil is to be censored.
We had somebody reach out and try to buy our organization about 2 weeks ago. And I don't know if they would buy it to grow it or if they would buy it to shut it down.
Exactly.
And I'm not willing, like, this isn't about making money. And I think for some people, you know, this would be a great way. I mean, we've been around a long time, so they would be able to take it and either grow it and make money or shut it down so they can, you know, push another agenda forward. But I'm watching the vulnerability that our children have and how society sometimes chooses to use that as an advantage for them, or as you said, like, you know, use our kids to push their agenda along. And, you know, for 11 years, this has happened to me multiple times.
Yeah.
I call them wolves in sheep clothing, right? And you meet those people. It's very predatorial platform with the wrong people. And sometimes it's hard to trust now. And when you have the right people, you don't trust them either, because you're
Exactly.
It's so hard. I know, but you know what? It's okay. It's just learning, I think, and it's making us very protective. We just lost I was telling Dr. Khan, we lost a 23-year-old autistic boy last week, and his mom called and told me that she had to view his body. They found him next to his group home, and the bruises on his face and his arm tell them that there was a struggle. But I don't know what the coroner's office had found, if he was asphyxiated, if it was drugs, whatever it was. But this kid had a journey, you know, where he was addicted to drugs at one point, and he had purchased a gun. I watched him grow up. He was very young when I met him, but they have his viewing to city, you know, two cities over from where I live, that have passed away because of either fentanyl overdose or, you know, homelessness, joblessness, all of those things. And it's just so frustrating. But again, it could be something that really just shuts us down because we're just, you know, so frustrated with it, or we use that as our fuel to, like, when you put the drums on, I was like, oh my God, that makes me feel so happy, you know. And it's so needed, especially, I think that's probably the best, right? The music and everything is probably the best healing.
And I have to play me. I finally got me a past friend of mine. She gave me an Alexa Echo. So now I'm walking around and I'm letting Alexa play some drumming and some instrumentals for me. I've been trying to, you know, get myself together for my grad classes, because I don't want to let this affect me going into my fall semester. And it won't. I mean, it just takes me a minute to focus on me a bit and get myself regrounded.
Veronica, one of the things that I tell people in the community, we are very particular who we work with, and we do not accept everybody. We say that all the time to people, because I want them to know, like, if you're coming on our team, you were chosen. It wasn't because you just decided you wanted to join us. Like, I make it the opposite, to let them know, like, we're controlling this, not you, you know, type thing, because people will use this for all kinds of things. When the whole BLM movement was going on. Oh my God, these college students they're so divided, and they were trying to use our platform to push that movement. I said, listen, those are two separate movements. They can do their thing, we're doing our thing, but listen, what they're doing is not our idea of how to fix this problem. We need
Right.
to use our words, we need to compromise, we need to work together and find solutions together. Uh-oh, here he goes. Yeah.
I knew he's. Come on. You want to see? See? Here I am. Hey, you say hi? Hi.
Little Rock Mall?
You want to go to the Little Rock Mall?
No, Little Rock Mall.
Happy
No,
birthday,
Little Rock.
Alexander! Happy birthday! Happy birthday to you! Please try. Happy birthday to you! Happy birthday! Happy birthday! Oh, he's gone.
Thank
He's
you,
moving
lady.
so fast.
I know.
He's gone.
Nothing slow about him, I tell you.
He's so cute.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, we just have to keep, standing by our principles.
Lighting the way.
And finding a way and paving that way, making sure we don't. I'm one of those. I think this journey requires someone to be fierce, requires someone to be adamant and determined. And it just so happens that I'm up for the task, no matter what it is. And that was just a hiccup, Part of the situation, I think, was this. It was so mind-boggling, is that I was already planning, and just from one parent to another and one supporter to another, I was already planning Alexander's birthday for this event. I'm not just for the event, but I was already planning this for Alexander's birthday at this hotel months ago, like as far as January, right? And the agency, the young lady that's the executive director of the agency, wanted to wrap her conference. I think she needed to do a conference, and she wanted to wrap the conference around Alexander's birthday, which I was fine with that. But at the end of the day, let's keep in mind, it's around this autistic adult in Arkansas who's having a birthday on this day. And I guess what blindsided me was, at the end of the day, I even, supplied, and this is not about me, but I did put forth a lot of energy and effort in making sure Alexander's Secret Incorporated was acknowledged and included in the propaganda, as far as the marketing, as far as the advertising and things of that nature. So for her to just kind of try to slide in and kind of take over, that's how I felt. She took over, pushed us to the back as a shadow, and took over the event. There was no communication about what the next steps were. There was no meetings, no collaborative meetings or teaming to set forward to make sure that this was a win-win for everybody involved. So it was a win-lose around the board. I mean, but that's the type of thing you do when you deal with people that have narcissistic, self-serving behaviors. And I can say that, I can speak on that, because my mother and my father, my families on both sides, I come from a group of narcissistic individuals, and I know I have that narcissistic DNA in my body and in my DNA, my genetic makeup. However, I have acknowledged what I have to work with and work on, and I make a conscious effort every day to make sure I am the better version of myself. And I take pride in that.
Is she still there then, Veronica, or did she go somewhere else, or how did that all work out at the end with the lady, showing up at the hotel and stuff?
Well, she's the executive director of the agency that put on the conference. She's been that executive director for 10 years. I knew she had a self-serving personality when I met her 10 years ago, which is one of the reasons why I never really collaborated with her. But I was thinking 10 years later, and especially when she does all these things in the name of God. And that's another thing I don't like, is when people do self-serving behaviors and it's got to be in the name of Jesus to make sure that they get others to comply. And she does that. This person does that a lot. I know a lot of people that do that. I mean, but she's the executive director. And what's so sad about these agencies that are self-serving and implement special interests, the worst of the worst are those agencies that are governor selected positions, like they have a governor selected board or governor selected executive director. Those are the worst, because those people are on the inside of what the politics and the money is all about. So they have a better view and a better vision of how to use the rest of us as pawns to their hidden agenda. And I saw that, even though I know it's out there, you know, but when I saw I was used, one thing that really strikes me, when you have all of my attention when you try to use my son, when you try to use my baby that is nonverbal, that is out here on the front line as a nonverbal autistic, and you use him for your hidden agenda, that gets all of my attention and it fuels my fire.
Sure. Yep. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Well, you know what?
But I'm here.
Yes.
You know,
I still have my smile. What did you say, Dr. Khan?
I'm just saying that these things are so common everywhere. People think that they will make fool and let go of things. I was working in very start. I was working in the school, and I just literally that was my client. That was a child, and I was working on his, you could say, on his inclusion, by the way. So I select a school and I take that child over there. And I don't know how much money that lady charged from him. And during my discussion, she was so mean that she was acting like I am her servant. That lady was doing like that. And she was, she was literally like taking pictures of children. And she was maybe sending to some agency that we are collecting money for this, we need money for that and stuff like that. So at some point, she was so mean. Everybody was sitting there and she gave this a mean look that this is my school. At that moment, I came out of that school. I left that place.
Yeah.
And I don't care whatever she was doing there, but I left that place because that was not my place to be there. And she could not go with that for so long. She don't get this idea. You can do this for once. You cannot do this for so long. And still time, and people use your name. And they think that you will not know this, they're using their name.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
That was
and
that's the reason why I came out. That was the reason why I'm doing it, why I'm posting my work. That is the reason.
Right.
I don't want my name to be using such like in that thing. I'm not working with those people. Those who are claiming I'm working with them. I think I told you that story once.
Yes. And karma is very real. And in this day and time, with all that the world is going through, it tends to come back immediately. You know what I'm saying? So whether it's good, bad, you really need to pay attention to what you do to people, how you treat people. Because we're all in this thing called life together. You don't get to excuse your bad behavior because you're going through challenges of life. We're all going through challenges. That doesn't give you the right to mistreat someone and then come back and say, oh, well, I'm having problems with. That doesn't matter. You don't get a pass. We're all going through challenges of life. We all are. And you still have to decipher through that of what works for you. If it doesn't, then leave it alone. But don't go after people with good intentions and pure hearts, because those just as much as I'm a good person, my vengeful side and my fight and my advocacy work and my activism is just as strong as my soft side. So, to each his own. Like I said, I'm going to use this as fuel. This is going to be something that's going to make me come out even stronger, because I have my support team within my groups here online globally. And I also have my discipline of what I'm acquiring my master's through. They are a very good team of professionals and professors that they want their team to make it. And they are so interested in my story and Alexander's story. So good. I'm just kudos to them and kudos to you all. And I thank you all for being there for me. And I'm glad you missed us.
We did. We were both like, I hope she's okay, but we know you're busy too. So, and the same with all of us, you know, we're all but I think it's good to take a few minutes out. You know, Dr. Khan pushes for that. And I love it because she's like, come on, we got to get together. We got to detox these people because if we don't, right?
Yeah.
And Dr. Khan, you are on mute. I always do.
And I didn't get a chance to say hello to the other doctor, but